Okay, so this episode basically was really wrapped around the butterfly effect for the most part. Everybody is working on being what they're not, somewhat. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Lovecraft Country Season 1, Episode 5. Like I said, everybody is kind of doing this whole butterfly effect thing. They're really all getting into this whole thing of what you actually are not and what you long to be. Um, yeah, real interesting. Now, I have to say, last week I hated last week's episode. I really did. This put me back. This is my lane right here. All this I think this might have actually been one of my favorites so far. Ruby wakes up flat out as a white woman. And I thought it was interesting how she didn't wake up as this beautiful white woman. She was just a white woman. Because trust me, she was just old common white woman, honey. She wasn't short. She wasn't cute. She wasn't none of them things. She was just white. She ain't look like Christina. Y'all know Christina Braithwaite. We sharp to death. Christina is like the quintessential white woman. She looks like a Barbie doll. But Ruby just woke up as some old downtrodden white woman. I said, look, she's like an old washerwoman. But whatever, white nonetheless, honey. So that was the whole thing. And we seen her making her way through town, and it was funny because when she woke up, it was like she was weak and she couldn't walk properly and everything like that. So it was very much like caterpillar into the butterfly type of thing. Um, and then, she got it. After a minute, we saw her go into town, and immediately she goes, into her part of town. And baby, everybody's giving child, girls, you lost, Teddy? What is you doing here? And that whole thing. Then we seen this whole interaction where there was a little teenage black boy trying to help her, and the cops pulled that baby and was ready to beat him down, called him animals and all this other stuff. And she's like, no, 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 he was just trying to help me. And they're like, your husband sent us for you. And they end up taking her back to William. Okay, took her back to William's house. And they end up talking, and he's telling her, I can offer you things to make you happy, basically. And he goes into, they do these whole dissertations about magic and all of that. So she's like, oh, so magic exists? Yes, it absolutely does. Told her, he was a scientist as well. And then he met Hiram, who ended up teaching him all these different things. And he was like, Hiram was a little thrown off, but he got into the magical aspect of things from there. He was already working on something to kind of like change you and that kind of thing. We were working on the butterfly effect for the most part. And him and Hiram linked up, and that's what brought the magic stuff into it. Then we also seen this really cool reference to For Color Girls. Um, that was really interesting. The music for this that we did for Color Girls, of course, we always do Nina Simone, and they even broke Cardi B Money. I said, all y'all know that is my jam, Money. So the music for me was everything on this episode. Um, Tick beat the crap out of Montrose. Beat him down. Beat him down. Beat him down. Oh, before I go into that, William told Ruby all he needed from her was there was going to be a favor that he needed from her. And she's like, what is that? What type of deal have I worked with the devil, and all of this? And he left all this money and all of this for her, and there's this potion, okay? And all of this. We watched her also go back from the white woman back into the black woman as well. And that was like this whole thing, like she shedded the skin. So it was like really nice and disgusting, but done very, very well. She literally had to shed that skin, and you could actually see her fighting to get out. Now she's like, stop fighting, child. But she's fighting to get out. So that's that whole thing. So it's temporary. The spell is temporary, and there's a little potion that actually generates it. Let's move on. Tick beat Montrose down. Beat him down. And it was after he basically told him basically that Ayima was gone. And Tick knew right away he killed Ayima, that Ayima, he didn't just let her go. Letty thought that he just let her walk away. She carried on with that for like half of the episode. She didn't realize that Montrose had actually murdered Ayima and did away with her body and everything. So, Tick beat him down. Because, again, you're working against us, again. And he ran to the basement and he starts looking for the pictures. And I think what he was trying to do, he wanted to try to conjure Titus to come up and all of that. And Letty was like, no. And he's like, where's that? Where's all the, there were some of the pictures were missing, so you couldn't do it. So she was like, Eventually, she came back and gave him, some undeveloped pictures. And she's like, they're all there, they're all there, whatever. But she told him, you know what? I saw a different side of you when you did that. And it's when you beat him, it scared me. If I hadn't been here, would you have killed him? And he started telling her, there's, goes back to the whole him being raised and all of the beatings and all of that stuff. So it went back to all of that. So that was really interesting. But he told her, he said, please don't be afraid of me. And then, baby, listen, let me tell you something about Miss Letty. Miss Letty is a fast learner. Y'all remember the first time that they got down, he popped her cherry, honey, and made her bleed. Well, baby, she's passed that down, honey. She took him on over there, baby, and she gave it to him real good, honey, gave him what he needed, honey. And there was no blood, honey, and she knew exactly what she was doing. I said, oh, you a fast learner, aren't you, bitch? So they was getting down, honey. I said, oh, go on, Letty, honey. You became a regular old, glamazon up in here, honey. I said, check her out with her long line bra. She said, get it, sexy, do your thing. So that was that. In the meantime, old Ruby takes herself on down to Marshall Fields. Okay? She goes to Marshall Fields and she applies for a job as the white woman. Okay? And that was the thing. William had told her, you're free to go. You're free to go. And every door in the house, that big old huge mansion, every door is open and free to do, except for the basement. And she kept asking, what's in the basement? You and William go freely. Y'all always coming up from this basement. What's in that basement? Nobody would answer. So she goes and she ends up getting the assistant manager position. And then this was the part. You know the plight of the black girl. You know the plight of the black girl. She immediately goes and she's talking with Tamara. Her name is Tamara. She is talking with Tamara. And she finds out that Tamara is less qualified for the job than she was, which is no big deal. You ended up with your qualifications ended up getting you the job that you should get, which was the assistant manager. Okay? And she really could have had the manager's job for real. But the assistant manager, and he was definitely, there was a whole nother layer because he was part of the Me Too movement, baby. He would have been this week. He would have been part of the Me Too movement. He's a perv. But all that, now you've taken on the plight of the white woman, and you're acting like, this is where I got pissed with Ruby, because Ruby shaded the shit out of Tamara. When she said, oh, I only have a 7th grade education, this, that, thing, and the other. She said, you ain't taking no classes, accounting classes and stuff down and so and so and so and so. And she's like, how do you even know about that? And she's like, did you take the class? No, I didn't even know those existed. This, that, and the other. And I said, okay, well, this would be a good thing because she's going to take and bring Tamara up to what her qualification is. No, this bitch gets jealous and angry that before all this happened, Tamara walked in and got the job, and she didn't. Nobody slighted you, Ruby. You weren't there first. You weren't there first. It was a first come, first serve. They were only hiring a black girl because they needed a speck of color in there, and you didn't get there first, bitch. So what is you, Ruby? And this is what I found. Ruby is a hating ass bitch. She really is. I mean, I feel sorry for her. You got the issues. You have the issue of being a dark-skinned woman. You have the issue of being a woman. You have the issue of being in that time, 1955, where, prejudice and racism runs wild. I feel sorry for you for all that, but you a hating ass bitch. On top of all that, you're a hater, bitch. You hating on your sister. You hating on everybody that got something that you ain't got. That's a character flaw, and you need to work on that, sis. But she was shady to Tamara, and she just kept being mean. But see, we see that a lot, don't we? Even today. There's a lot of times, see, here we go. Y'all know I don't like to play the color game, because I don't live my life like that. I love whatever loves me back, but I ain't no goddamn fool. I know what actually goes on, and it's a shame that sometimes, a lot of times, it's some of our people who will shade us before anybody white even thinks about shading you. Will be hating on you, jealous and envious of you, and be putting the X on your back and the dagger in the X before anybody white or any other nationality even thinks about side swiping you. And it doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. We need to do better. Anyway, moving on. But I saw that throughout the program. She was shading the shit out of Tamara because you jealous, you old hating ass bitch. Anyway, moving on. So, throughout the time, she started dealing with the girls, and she was hanging out with the other white women and seeing and hearing all kind of stuff, honey. And see, none of them really like black folks, but they like black men. They had a taste for black men. I had the nerve to say, "Oh yeah, girl, I would love to go on over to the South Side, baby, and get some black pain, honey." I said, "Look at them, a whole mess." And then there was a whole situation. I'm gonna get to it. Where she was over there yelling at Tamara, and she was going off, telling Tamara, "You got to be better than the white women." And it's that she was really talking like a black girl, but she was getting kind of heated, and she was talking a little bit loud. And they were like, "What did she do? Like, what the black bitch do? So we can go ahead and get rid of her, right?" And she was like, "Well, no, anybody got time for all that. And she was like, no, Tamara's fine. She was just saying she's going to take us all over to the South Side to really party and see what it's about over there. Now, you done set Tamara up, put her in this position, which is crazy. You know what, let me go ahead. I'm just going to keep on going with this part. They go over to the South Side, okay? They go to the South Side. They end up hating ass damn Ruby. Ends up sitting there, they getting drunk and dancing, everybody's up dancing, having a good time. She's sitting around looking now. They're like, "Come on, Tamara, show us how to do the jitterbug and this, that thing, and the other." See, now, you done put the spotlight on Tamara. And you done got jealous of Tamara again, because now Tamara is, naturally she's the leader of the damn field trip. But it's really your field trip. You really were the one who really wanted to take these white folks and show them how good we party and how much fun we actually have and what we have that they can't have. But when they got down there, them black men got a thing for white women. They was down there, rubbing on them and dancing with them and all that old shit. And you just sat over there and you done got mad. She mad at the fact that Tamara is in the spotlight and she the one to put her in there. covering her own ass. And then also, you're getting mad at these white women all over these black men who, because now there's 4 white women, so there's 4 black girls being ignored by these 4 black boys that's playing with these white women. So you mad about that? Bitch, you hate on everybody. You a hating ass bitch. Like I said, you're a hater. And then, one good thing, she got mad and she's drunk. She's in her fifis. She's all in her feelings. She done went outside, had a she take the potion. She bust the potion, and then she started busting down and coming back out of her skin. And in the midst of that, she ended up looking through this little keyhole, and she happened to see the manager because he went with him. The manager tried to get Tamara. And basically tried to assault her. And when she broke away from him, he called her a nigger bitch and all that. I said, oh, okay, yeah, perv. Tried to assault her. He was being deviant and called her a nigger bitch. I said, But see, again, you doing the most. You brought that element down to our place. Brought the snake right on in to the picnic. You a mess, Ruby. Anyway, she ends up leaving out of there. She ended up having a conversation with Christina at that point. She's waiting on William to come home. And Christina came. And they started talking about the favor. The favor that William actually had. Okay. So, one thing I left out, she also was trying to take William to task too, because she thought that she wouldn't kiss William at first whenever she was in her white face. Because she was like, is it that you want to kiss a white woman or what? And he's like, no, I want to kiss you however you are. I like you, period. So she's like, okay. Of course, she don't be believing him. But he was warming her up to it. So it was like, okay. So that's that. So, moving on. Christina ends up talking to Ruby and saying, do you care for him at all outside of the opportunities that he has opened up for you and can give you? And she said, because she said the favor is he needs you to take this. It's a stone of some type. They always got some shit running. And plant it in the sheriff's office because he's going to work some type of a spell on the sheriff to get back at the sheriff, because the sheriff had put a hit out on William. He went to have William killed, but William actually survived, and the sheriff doesn't know that William is still alive. So she's like, plant something in the sheriff's office. Girls, you crazy? You got me fucked up. And when she was so angry because when she asked for the favor and he gave her a box, talking about there was going to be a party at Mrs. Braithwaite's house, she thought that it was going to be a gown or something, and it was a maid's uniform. Honey, she was hot. But then like I said, Christina ended up, she told her to meet Christina at the party and everything. Christina explained it to her, told her what happened. So she does like William. So she went ahead, she planted it. That whole scene was a mess. Because when she went to plant it, she planted it, and then she's being nosy and seeing this man in the closet. Disgusting. They had him tied up to some chains and stuff. They're all into all this sadomasochism and all this stuff. Y'all had him all chained up, but they were torturing him because he was somebody from the neighborhood that did something. Somebody that was out of order and out of line and not doing what they want him to do, so they was torturing him. And she had to get in the closet and hide because they were coming back, and she almost got caught. But she's in there with that man. That was whole disgusting. That was just disgusting. But anyway, so all of that. So she's seeing like what really be going on. And that's what she really started asking about. What's in the basement? Like, what is really going on? Anyway, let's leave them for a minute. And let's go and let's talk about Montrose. Now, I got my whole life with this because we went into Montrose and how conflicted he really is. Montrose, okay, so we heard before that Montrose and Sammy, that owns the bar, are friends. And that's what I thought they were. They were just like friends. But the bar is an undercover gay bar. Like there's straight people and there's gay people down at this bar. And some little gay goings on be happening down at the bar. Now, remember, when we first saw Sammy for the first time, Sammy was getting head from some little child in the back alley. So I thought that Montrose and Sammy were both just, they was just friends and that was that. Well, no, baby. Montrose is the trade. And I've told y'all a million times, you cannot date the damn trade. And this is why. And this is what happened. So he goes to the house. He shows up to Sammy's place. And Sammy's like, who the hell, who did it or whatever. Child, Montrose just comes in and his eyes all swollen shut. He'll tell you, tick beat the shit out of him. And baby, listen, they had this session. No words, just this session. I said, okay. So Sammy is your dirty little secret. He's not just your friend. Sammy just happens to be he's a more prominent because Sammy's one of the girls. He's one of the girls. I said, well, wait a minute, Sammy, you out getting head in the alley, but Sammy's actually a whole drag queen out in these streets. I said, well, come on, Sammy, honey, spook of the kids. I said, okay. But anyway, when Montrose came, Sammy was full on bitch, honey. Montrose came in there, grabbed him up, honey, turned him around and spit in his hand and gave her something, honey. I said, ew, funky. Real jail style and, real, just, it was a whole lot. I was like, that's a lot going on. But anyway, did all that. And then that's what I said. Here we go with the confusion. He did all of that. Treated him like, trash. And then he wouldn't kiss him. Because he's conflicted. So he wouldn't kiss him in the mouth. And I'm like, see, this is again, when you're dealing with people that's conflicted, honey, they got all these things going on, honey. You screwing, but you ain't kissing. And there's some people that are very, very, this is a whole nother video I could do, but there's some people who really, they are conflicted with their sexuality, and baby, they be all over the place. Now, I mean, how is it that you banging, but you ain't kissing? Like, I mean, what's the difference? One ain't no worse than the other. If you engage and you engage, and if you are engaging in the dark arts, you're engaging in the dark arts. Sit your ass down. But there's people that are conflicted like that. And not only did he do that, you wouldn't kiss. You done screwed the boy with spit. You didn't kiss him. But then you turned around and got down on your knees and blew him off. I said, now, Miss Montrose, wait a minute. Either you the trade or you wanted a girl. What you got going on? You all over the place. So you ain't really trade. And you just are a regular old butch queen that is just conflicted. Y'all see how confused I just made you? See, because I know you didn't follow that unless you actually been around some of the gays or you know some of the gays. If you know how things go in the LGBTQIA community, then I didn't confuse you just then. But if you don't really know, you spinning right now. Because it is just that complicated. I did that on purpose. We are just that complicated. We are. We come in all forms. It really isn't just, oh, there's a feminine one and there's a masculine one. Boom, they get together. No, that is not how it works, honey. That's how it works when you got two Ken dolls. That's not how it works when you have real people. So, we will do another video. Y'all leave it in the comments if y'all want me to do another video to unspin you out of that web I just spent you into. Anyway, so it was interesting to see. Montrose is all twisted, okay? So then we found out, like I said, Sammy's a whole drag queen out here. And he was going to do this here pageant. And that was another thing. See, Montrose did another thing that people who are conflicted do. Everything... Sammy's fine as a dirty secret, and you keep it like that. But then when everything doesn't be going your way in your hetero life, then here you come. Here you come. It's always refuge with your dirty secret. When everything in your world is wrong, your brother's dead, your son done beat your ass, your wife is dead and gone, you ain't got shit else left. And here you come on Sammy's doorstep. I've told y'all, you cannot date the trade. And these are the problems that you run into when you date trade or call yourself dating trade. And also, if you're trying to deal with a conflicted butch queen, you will be, child, you're setting yourself up for a whole bunch of foolishness. But anyway, so this is what's basically going on. So he goes over there. They go to the pageant, and he's just sitting there. He's around, just kind of like sitting around when all the girls came. There was a whole lot of the drag race girls and some of the other kids that I know from the industry were actually cast in this, so that was really nice to see. I said, check y'all out, honey. There was Shangela and Monet Exchange, and yeah, it was quite a few of the girls. So that was cool. But I like that they actually did cast real live drag queens, not just actors that they just stuck up in drag. They went and got actual professional drag performers to actually do those roles. So that was good. They opened the doors for some of my people. Anyway, so they basically showed how Montrose kind of like gave into his inner self. I don't know how much of that was supposed to be real time and how much of it he was imagining, but he basically gave in to his inner feelings, and he was enjoying life. He was having the best night of his life, honey. He was living, honey, and dancing, and he kissed Sammy in the mouth during the pageant. Sammy had won the pageant too. So again, Sammy is not just anybody regular. She's a local celebrity, honey. And yeah, he kissed her in the mouth, honey. But they had like the whole little scene where all the drag queens lifted him. Honey, we don't do that. We don't do that. We ain't picking up no piece of trade and spinning them in the air and nobody throwing glitter, honey. We don't do that. So I was like, some of this is a dream sequence, because I know good and well I'm not getting ready to pick up nobody while I got on one of my gowns. Is you crazy? Are you okay? Some of that had to be a dream sequence. Anyway, I know even back in 1955, them whores wasn't picking them men up, child, and spinning them around and throwing glitter on them. Child, get out of here. But it was cute. It was cute. Love the storyline. You know, that's my lane. Let's go. So that's what's going on with Montrose with his killing ass, conflicted, foolish butch queen self. Anyway, so moving on. Okay. So, let's see, where are we at? Letty and Tick. Let's get them out of the way. Tick and Letty are having this conversation, and he basically has let her know, because she didn't know, that Ayima didn't just walk away, that the truth was that Montrose had wiped her out. He had distinguished her. And she was like, oh no, see, we need to leave all of this alone. This is evil, and we need to leave it alone. And he's like, it's not evil. It's who we are, and it's not evil. It's all about what you do with the power. And I want to use it to protect us. So she's like, okay, so she's going to trust him. So they were having a whole conversation, and they both basically went through this whole little thing, and I'm not going to take 20 minutes to go through it. But basically what it was, neither one of them knows how to love. They don't. He went to telling her a little bit. He didn't go into the details because I want these details, and I think we're going to get them next week. But he wants these details about this relationship he had when he was overseas in Asia. Okay? And he said, you know, that was like a relationship, but it ended weird. I believe he killed her. Remember what happened earlier on? I don't know, but whatever. And maybe she, I don't know, she's a double agent or something. Something ain't right with that, but whatever. He didn't go into all the details, but he was saying, you know, that was that. And then the relationship with his dad, the love, you know, the love thing, nothing special. It just ain't nothing. She's saying the same thing about her mother, you know. And she said, you know, I watched my mother falling in love and it don't come out to be nothing. And she did it over and over and over again. And Ruby does the same thing. So she's saying none of that is special. And then they both agreed that what they got going on feels special, and it is special. And she was saying, you know, basically she didn't want to fall in with him. So the last time I kind of gave in to you, you was getting ready to dash off and leave and go to Florida, and I ain't feeling all that. And he like, no, baby, I'm staying for that coochie. I ain't going nowhere. I said, that's it. Get a bucket and a mop. That's some wop. That's some wop. She got him, baby. I told you she's a fast learner. She put that thing on him, and so he's done. He got his boots planted firmly up underneath that bed up on that 3rd floor. So that's that. So that's cute. So they gonna be together. Now let's move on. Okay. So then we got Christina and Ruby in their conversation. There's this whole little situation where she told her what, because Ruby was conflicted about the whole thing of, this potion and all this different stuff. She told her, she says, what's going on with you and William? It's not about being white. It was never about being white. It's about being able to do whatever you want. He gave you the freedom to do and be whatever you want and do whatever the fuck you want. That's what she put. That's how she put it. Do whatever the fuck you want. And she said, so who are you, Ruby? Who are you? Uninterrupted. The next time we see Miss Ruby, honey, she done took herself, she back in her white skin, baby. She done took herself on down to Marshall Fields. And she tells the manager that she's quitting. And he's like, well, why? And then he's telling her, and this is basically the night after the stuff that happened down on the south side. He's telling her, that Tamara wasn't working up to her potential, so I let her go. No, you tried to take advantage of her the night before, you freak. And now you're going to get, you know how they do. But he fired her, and she was like, oh, okay. Well, that was nothing but par for the course, honey, because she had something planned for him anyway. So she told him that she quit it. And he said, well, why are you quitting? She said, because, I have a conflict of interest. Ever since I got here, I've been wanting to fuck your brains out. And I needed to quit so I'd be free to do that. And he's like, well, okay, baby. She went and got him, took his belt off. He thought she was going to give him some head, child. She took the belt, wrapped it around his neck, took his tie, tied his hands up. And he's, he all on her because he's been liking her ever since she came in. And the other white women was telling her that, no, that he's so straight-laced, he never tried nothing with them. He had a thing for her. And it's so funny, just that's that natural thing. You like what you like. Even though she was a white woman, he could sense that something in her. He liked her. He didn't like none of them other white women. And all those other white women, except for one of them, were better looking than her. Except for one. There was one, she was raggedy, but whatever. But he didn't want none of them. But he had a thing for her. Because she really was a black woman. But anyway, baby, this was my part, honey. She sat down in the chair and pulled her skirt and lifted her leg, baby, and said, suck it! And made him suck the heel on her shoe. I fell out laughing. I said, you better do it, Ruby, bitch. She got his ass with his freak ass. I said, come on through. She done pulled into his little thing, baby. He was all with it, right? He was ready. She made him suck the heel on her shoe. And after he got a good and wet, baby, she took him and flipped him over and stuck that shoe up his ass over and over and over and over and violated him the same way that he was trying to violate Miss Tamara. Tore his ass up with that shoe. I said, and the only thing that came to mind was Beyonce's song, 6-inch heel. I said, she got your ass, honey. Ooh, I said, boom, boom. She tore him up. Fucker. Anyway, after she did that, then she ended up coming out of her skin. She came out of her skin in the office. You know how nasty that was. Came out of her skin and all that. And then turned around, did blood everywhere. And turned his ass over and put that bloody heel in his chest and told him, I wanted you to know that it was a nigger bitch that did this to you, honey. And went on and strutted on up out of there. Went back to the house. When she went back to the house, she ended up, she had more questions about this, what's in this basement stuff. And William was actually coming in. So she caught him coming in, and she's like, William, I want to know what's in that basement. He was like trying to blow her off, and he's like, let me go. Okay, just give me a minute. And he didn't get very far, honey. And then he started jerking and carrying on like she was doing. And she was looking like, what in the hell? Child, same little situation going on. He got to doing all this stuff and start, you could see the hands and stuff peeling in the back and all that stuff. And it was like, okay, wait a minute. And then I'm looking as the skin is peeling. I'm like, if y'all tell me, honey, that William is a black man, I'm going to fall out, honey. But got down there, child, it was something completely more than that. Child, when the skin got done peeling off, it was Christina Birthway. Baby, she stood up, honey, and Ruby looked at her and said, oh, wait a goddamn minute, I know you fucking lying. You been William this whole fucking time. I said, girl, got you, honey. Catfish. Girl, you didn't know you was a lesbian now, did you, bitch? I said, oh my God, honey. Child, this whole time, William has been Christina. Remember when Christina said, I know what you're going through? It was, baby, it was going down. Anyway, then we flip back over. Now, this is where it goes strange again. Tick is down there working with this puzzle, trying to do, trying to figure these things out without Aima. And you see him, he figures something out, and he get to crying. And then he gets on the phone, and he calls that number. He called him back to Asia. And the lady answers the phone again, and he said, how did you know? And she said, you should have listened to me. And he said, well, are you? And she hung up the phone. And then you see where he deciphered the stuff, and it spelled out die, D-I-E. And that was where it ended. I said, now, I don't know. I don't know where we are. I don't know where we are now. And I guess that's another one of the good things about this show, because when we leave off, we generally don't know where we are. And him crying, who's going to die? Because I don't think, if it was him, I don't think it would bother him that much. Is it Letty? That's the only one that I could actually think of that it would actually be. Either Letty or that little girl. One of the two of them. Y'all remember his little cousin D. Them was the only two that I could actually imagine that they're saying would die. I don't know. I'm just throwing things out at this point. I don't know. Or did the woman have a baby? Was there a baby or something? I don't know. But look, I'm here. I'm back on board. Back on board. But episode 4 sucked. But episode 5 was everything. It was everything. Anyway, I will catch y'all next week.